All right, worlds. Hope all is well. Okay. We're going to do a little bit more serious video today. Today, we're going to focus on some techniques to heal your inner child. All right. So, today is June 10th, 2020. Right. So, happy Holy Friday to all those. And I'm just going to go into it. So, I'm going to read from my morning reflection. Okay. So, all right, so I comprehend that I have been naive and easily influenced when it comes to what a true connection, free of manipulation, is and means. I have stayed in places and spaces way too long, made myself smaller just to fit where I never belonged. Afraid to excel, struggle, climb higher, or do the shadow work to heal. The people I meet are just an extension of my inner self. Either what I must work on or evolve from, or aspects I am neglecting or what needs to be heightened. All in all, it's a message from the divine that I must take heed of, pay attention to, fix, heal, and acknowledge. If I do the work, I will reap the reward, right? I have been overactive in my root chakra, right? A constant need to indulge, unfulfilled. I don't just want any connection. I want magic, honor, respect, calmness, gentleness, compassion, empathy, love, balance, acceptance, freedom, peace, and wholeness. I will not accept anything less than those 13 aspects and characteristics of man. Those are my intentions. Techniques to calm one's emotions, right? So I keep a constant motto or whatever, mantra, that everything is mind over matter, right? So it all starts in thought. So once we get that it all starts with thought and it all starts within, why are you looking outside? And why are you letting outside affect you if it's all within? So I'm not going to let your emotions and how you feel affect me, because what you eat, I don't shit. So keep that in mind, right? So I release the personal attachment, right? And focus on the goal at hand. I release distractions and focus on what's important. So a lot of times we are overly emotional, right? Or overly in ego, that you miss the message, right? Or you're too focused on the outside, internal, on how someone looks or how someone is, how you're perceiving someone, that you just miss the message, right? Because your enemies can give you messages too. Your enemies are always telling you the truth. They're always giving you the remedy, but are you listening? Right? So I accept that I'm worthy of true love. I change my thinking and approach on how I act when it comes to love and relationships. Right? I free myself to express my heart without fear. My lack of self-control has caused detriment on my life. I have been neglecting my main purpose, my law, right? And my soul's mission and goals, right? Now I must surrender, or I have to surrender to the journey and become one with Source. Must release the need to force others to have compassion, care, or understand me. If the energy exchange is not of the same vibration, or if it's not mutual, then they are simply not on the same purpose as me. And therefore, I release them back to the universe and let that bitterness and resentment go, right? Everything starts within. It's all about mindset and energy. So I watch for triggers that may cause me to think in a negative aspect. So that's anger, overwhelming, like the feeling of being overwhelmed, frustration, feeling lost, unappreciated. Those are all unresolved traumas. that I am healing from, that I'm healing my inner child from, and that I'm releasing the wounded that I'm releasing the wounded female, that I'm releasing the wounded feminine energy, right? Releasing the wounded feminine energy, stepping in to who I truly am, loving myself, accepting myself. And if I'm not for you, then I'm not for you. I'm okay with that. That doesn't mean that I'm of less value, right? Just coming to terms. So it reminds me of a scripture that my dad would always say to me, and that like this one particular guy that I was like interested in when I was a teenager, he would always say this to me, and I'd be like, why does this guy say this? But it comes back full circle now, right? When you need to know why people were saying things to you. So it's, I learn to accept the things that I cannot change. I change the things that I can. And I'm grateful, or I'm thankful for the knowledge to know the difference between the two. Like, I butchered it, but it's the same premise, right? So you accept the things that you can't change. So you release the things that no longer serve you. You work on things that you can change. So you focus on solutions rather than problems, right? And you make the discernment to know the difference between the two. So you know when something is going to benefit you and when something is not. Most of the time, most of the things that we think are of importance are really just distractions, right? So they continuously keep us in a loop, continuously keep us in a catch-22. Once you start to analyze that and look outside of those certain cycles and certain patterns, right? So once you find that you're in a certain cycle or a certain pattern and you're just repeating a certain behavior, now you have to go to knowing that you have to do something different in order to counter that, because two of the same energies will never cancel themselves out, nor do they blend. So you have to find a way to neutralize, right? A way to bring it back to zero. So, those are just little things that I try to execute and keep in mind, and a certain level of energy. So, I spent a lot of my time angry. I spent a lot of my time pissed off at the world, right? So I'm not giving that energy anymore, because I know where that energy goes. I know where that energy gets me. But something that I have never done is actually keep a positive outlook and be optimistic and smile and be happy, despite the bullshit that I'm going through. That's something I've never done. So that's what I'm doing now. And for the most part, it's working, right? Because it's different behavior. It's something unknown. It's something that hasn't quite been used yet. So therefore, it's gonna yield different results. And I feel like that's where we have to keep our mind at. If you're consistently doing the same bullshit and it hasn't gotten you anywhere, why are you gonna keep doing the same bullshit? We never stop and think about that. But these are the boundaries that I'm working on. And I just want to give these little bit of techniques to just encourage the next one. So have a lovely day, be well, and take care.